There is something extraordinary happening in your life right now, something that goes beyond mere coincidence or chance. You have been chosen, marked by the divine, and guided by forces that exist beyond the veil of ordinary perception. As you rest tonight, as you allow your conscious mind to settle into the peaceful embrace of sleep, your higher self is awakening to truths that have always been present, waiting for this very moment to be fully understood and embraced. The universe speaks in whispers and signs, in synchronicities and gentle nudges that guide you toward your highest purpose. And right now, in this very moment of your life, you are being divinely guided in ways both subtle and profound. The first clear sign that you are being divinely guided is the appearance of meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. These are not ordinary coincidences. They are divine appointments, carefully orchestrated meetings between your soul and the universal intelligence that guides all things. Perhaps you were thinking of someone you hadn't spoken to in years, and within hours, they reached out to you. Perhaps you needed information or help with something specific, and a book fell off a shelf, open to the exact page you needed to read. Perhaps you were struggling with a decision, and a stranger said something in passing that answered the very question burning in your heart. These are not accidents. These are the fingerprints of divine intervention in your life. The universe is constantly communicating with you through the language of synchronicity. Carl Jung, the great psychologist, recognized these meaningful coincidences as evidence of a deeper order underlying reality, a connection between your inner psychological state and outer events in the physical world. When you are in alignment with your divine purpose, when you are walking the path that your soul chose before you were born, these synchronicities multiply. They become more frequent, more obvious, more impossible to dismiss as mere chance. You begin to notice numbers repeating in patterns, seeing sequences like 1111 or 333 or 444 everywhere you look. These number patterns are messages from your guides, confirmations that you are on the right path, reminders that you are not alone in your journey. Pay attention to the people who suddenly enter your life during times of transformation. Divine guidance often comes in human form, through individuals who appear at precisely the moment you need them most. These people may be teachers, mentors, friends, or even strangers who cross your path for a brief but significant encounter. They carry messages meant specifically for you. They hold keys to doors you didn't even know existed. Sometimes they appear to challenge you, to push you out of your comfort zone, to show you where you still need to grow. Other times they appear to support you, to encourage you, to remind you of your worth when you have forgotten it. Either way, their arrival in your life is not random. It is orchestrated by the same divine intelligence that orchestrates the movement of planets and the changing of seasons. When you are being divinely guided, you will notice that obstacles that once seemed insurmountable suddenly dissolve. Doors that were closed begin to open. Opportunities present themselves in unexpected ways. This doesn't mean your path becomes easy or free from challenges. Divine guidance doesn't eliminate all difficulty from your life. What it does is clear the way for you to face the challenges that will help you grow into who you are meant to become, while removing the obstacles that no longer serve your highest good. You may have been applying for a particular job that seemed perfect, only to be rejected repeatedly. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, a better opportunity appears, one you hadn't even considered, one that aligns more perfectly with your skills and purpose. This is divine guidance redirecting you, protecting you from paths that would have limited your growth, and steering you toward experiences that will expand your consciousness and fulfill your soul's mission. The second clear sign of divine guidance is an inner knowing that transcends logic and reason. This is the voice of your intuition, which is actually the voice of your higher self, your soul, communicating directly with your conscious mind. It manifests as a feeling in your body, often in your gut or your heart. It is that sudden certainty you feel about something without being able to explain why you feel so certain. It is the quiet whisper that says yes when your logical mind is listing all the reasons you should say no. It is the uncomfortable feeling that warns you away from a person or situation that appears perfectly fine on the surface. This inner knowing is one of the most powerful tools you possess, and when you are being divinely guided, it becomes stronger, clearer, more insistent. Your intuition is not something separate from you. It is not some mystical force acting upon you from the outside. It is your truest self, the part of you that remains connected to the divine source of all wisdom and knowledge. Before you were born into this physical body, before you forgot your divine nature, you existed as pure consciousness, fully aware of your connection to all that is. That awareness still exists within you, buried beneath layers of conditioning and societal programming and fear-based thinking. Your intuition is the thread that connects your everyday conscious mind to that deeper knowing. When you are being divinely guided, that thread becomes a rope, then a bridge, then a superhighway of communication between your human self and your divine self. Learning to trust your intuition is one of the most important spiritual lessons you will ever master. Your logical mind, brilliant as it is, can only work with the information it has gathered through your 5 physical senses and your past experiences. But your intuition has access to information that exists beyond the limits of space and time. It knows things before they happen. It perceives truths that cannot be seen with physical eyes. It recognizes connections and patterns that the rational mind cannot detect. When you receive an intuitive hit, a sudden flash of insight, or a strong feeling about something, that is divine guidance flowing through you. Your job is not to question it or demand that it explain itself in logical terms. Your job is to honor it, to act upon it, to trust that you are being guided by an intelligence far greater than your individual mind could ever be. Many people ignore their intuition because they have been taught to value logic over feeling, to trust only what can be proven and measured and explained. But the most important things in life cannot be proven or measured or fully explained. Love cannot be quantified. Beauty cannot be reduced to a formula. Truth cannot be captured in words alone. These things are known through direct experience, through the felt sense in your body, through the resonance in your heart. Your intuition operates in this same realm. It speaks the language of feeling, of energy, of vibration. When something feels right, even if it doesn't make logical sense, that is divine guidance saying yes, this is aligned with your path. When something feels wrong, even if it looks perfect on paper, that is divine guidance saying no, this will lead you away from your purpose. As you continue to honor your intuition, as you make choices based on inner knowing rather than outer appearances, your intuitive abilities will strengthen. You will begin to receive guidance more quickly, more clearly, more accurately. You will know who to trust and who to avoid. You will know which opportunities to pursue and which to decline. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will know when to act and when to wait. This inner guidance system is always available to you, always operating, always ready to lead you toward your highest good. The question is not whether divine guidance is present. The question is whether you are listening, whether you are paying attention, whether you are willing to trust what you feel even when you cannot explain it. The third clear sign that you are being divinely guided is a deep sense of peace that persists even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty. This is not the fleeting happiness that comes from external circumstances going your way. This is a profound inner tranquility that exists independent of what is happening around you. It is the peace that surpasses understanding, the calm center in the eye of the storm. When you are being divinely guided, when you are walking in alignment with your soul's purpose, you carry this peace with you wherever you go. Challenges still arise. Difficulties still present themselves. Life still brings its share of pain and loss and disappointment. But underneath all of that, Beneath the surface turbulence, there is a bedrock of peace that cannot be shaken. This peace is evidence that you are surrendering to a greater plan, that you are releasing your need to control every outcome, that you are trusting in the divine orchestration of your life. Most human suffering comes from resistance, from fighting against what is, from demanding that reality conform to your preferences and expectations. When you are being divinely guided, you begin to relax that grip. You begin to understand that you are being carried by forces far more powerful and intelligent than your individual will. You still set intentions. You still take action. You still make choices and work toward goals. But you do so with an underlying trust that if things don't unfold exactly as you planned, it is because something better is being prepared for you. Something more aligned with your highest good than what your limited human perspective could have imagined. This peace also manifests as a growing acceptance of yourself exactly as you are right now. For so long, you may have been at war with yourself, believing that you needed to be different, better, more successful, more enlightened before you could be worthy of love and acceptance. Divine guidance dissolves that cruel self-judgment. It reveals the truth that you are already whole, already perfect in your imperfection, already deserving of every blessing the universe has to offer. Yes, you are growing and evolving. Yes, there are aspects of yourself that you are transforming, but this growth is not happening because you are broken and need fixing. It is happening because you are a divine being having a human experience, and expansion is the natural state of all consciousness. When you feel this peace settling into your bones, into your cells, into the very fabric of your being, know that you are being held by something far greater than yourself. You are being guided by the same intelligence that guides migrating birds across thousands of miles to their destination, that guides the salmon upstream to spawn, that guides the seasons in their eternal cycle. You are part of a grand design, and your role in that design is unfolding perfectly, even when you cannot see the bigger picture. Even when you feel lost or confused, even when you question whether you are on the right path, if you can find that place of peace within yourself. That is confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. This peace also changes how you interact with others. When you are centered in divine peace, you become a calming presence in any environment. People feel safe around you. They sense that you are not going to judge them or demand that they be anything other than what they are. You become a mirror that reflects back their own divine nature, helping them remember who they truly are beneath all the masks and defenses they have constructed. This is one of the ways divine guidance works through you to touch the lives of others. You don't have to preach or teach or try to convince anyone of anything. Simply by maintaining your own inner peace, by embodying the serenity that comes from knowing you are divinely supported, you give others permission to find that same peace within themselves. The fourth clear sign of divine guidance is an increasing awareness of your own power and your connection to the infinite creative force of the universe. You begin to notice that your thoughts and feelings have a direct impact on what manifests in your external reality. This is not positive thinking in the superficial sense of just pretending everything is fine when it isn't. This is a deeper understanding of how consciousness creates reality, how your inner state shapes your outer experience. When you are being divinely guided, you are being taught the laws that govern creation itself. You are being shown that you are not a victim of circumstance, not a powerless speck in an uncaring universe, but a co-creator. A divine being with the ability to shape your life through the focused application of your awareness, intention, and belief. You may notice that when you think about someone with love and positive intentions, they reach out to you shortly afterward. You may notice that when you visualize a desired outcome while feeling the emotions of having already achieved it, circumstances begin to align in ways that bring that outcome into being. You may notice that when you shift your internal state from fear to trust, from lack to abundance, from separation to connection, your external world begins to reflect that shift back to you. These are not coincidences. These are demonstrations of the creative power that flows through you, the same power that the divine uses to bring entire universes into existence. Divine guidance is teaching you to wield this power responsibly, to use it in service of your highest good and the highest good of all. You are learning that you always have a choice in how you respond to any situation. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always control what you make it mean, how you frame it in your mind, what you choose to focus on. And in making those choices, you literally reshape your reality. Two people can experience the exact same event and come away with completely different experiences based on their internal interpretation and response. The one who sees challenges as opportunities for growth will grow. The one who sees challenges as proof that the universe is against them will remain stuck in victim consciousness. Divine guidance is awakening you to this fundamental truth. You are the primary creative force in your own life. As this awareness deepens, you may also notice an increase in what many call manifestation or the law of attraction. Things you desire begin to show up more quickly. Needs are met before you even have to ask. Solutions to problems present themselves just when you need them. This is not because you have become better at manipulating the universe to give you what you want. It is because you have come into alignment with the natural flow of divine abundance. The universe is not a vending machine that dispenses rewards based on correct thoughts and feelings. It is a living, conscious, infinitely generous field of potential that is always seeking to express more life, more love, more creativity through you. When you stop blocking that flow with fear and doubt and limiting beliefs, when you open yourself to receive the gifts that are always being offered, your life becomes a demonstration of divine abundance. This growing awareness of your creative power also comes with increased responsibility. You begin to understand that you cannot create in isolation, that every thought and feeling you have sends ripples out into the collective consciousness of humanity. When you choose love, you strengthen love in the world. When you choose fear, you feed the fear that already exists. Divine guidance is inviting you to become conscious of this responsibility, to recognize that you are always casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in through the quality of your internal state. This is not about being perfect or never having a negative thought. It is about becoming aware of your patterns, noticing when you are caught in loops of negativity or limitation, and making the choice to shift back to a higher frequency. The fifth and perhaps most profound sign of divine guidance is a feeling of coming home to yourself, a sense that you are finally becoming who you have always been meant to be. For so long, you may have tried to fit yourself into boxes that were too small, to play roles that were not authentic to your true nature, to pursue goals that were designed to win approval from others, rather than to fulfill your own soul's longing. Divine guidance dismantles all of that false construction. It strips away the masks, the pretenses, the carefully crafted personas you have built to navigate a world that often feels unsafe or judgmental. What remains when all of that falls away is the truth of who you are, a unique expression of the divine, a once-in-all-of-eternity combination of gifts and perspectives and experiences that could never be duplicated. This homecoming often begins with a period of letting go. You may find yourself losing interest in activities, relationships, or pursuits that once seemed important. This is not depression or apathy. This is your soul saying no to what no longer serves your highest evolution. It can be uncomfortable, even painful, as you release people and patterns that have been part of your life for years. But it is necessary. You cannot step into the fullness of who you are meant to be while still clinging to an outdated version of yourself. Divine guidance is creating space in your life for something new to emerge, something more authentic, more aligned, more true to your essence. As you shed these old layers, you will notice qualities and interests emerging that you may have suppressed or ignored for years. Perhaps you are rediscovering a creative passion you abandoned long ago because you were told it was impractical or you weren't talented enough. Perhaps you are feeling drawn to study subjects that seem unrelated to your current career, but that ignite a genuine excitement in you. Perhaps you are finding the courage to express opinions and perspectives that differ from those of your family or social circle, even if it means facing disapproval or rejection. All of this is divine guidance leading you back to your authentic self, to the person you would have naturally become if you had never learned to edit yourself to please others. This process of becoming yourself is the most important work you will ever do. It is the reason you are here in physical form. Your soul did not incarnate into this time and place to simply conform to social expectations or to achieve external markers of success. It came here to express its unique essence, to contribute something to the collective that only you can contribute. Every human being is a puzzle piece in the grand design of existence, and your piece has a specific shape that fits nowhere else. When you are being yourself fully and authentically, when you are living from your truth rather than from fear or obligation, you slide into place in that grand design. Doors open that were previously locked. Opportunities arise that could not have appeared while you were trying to be someone you are not. People who resonate with your authentic frequency are drawn into your life, while those who connected with your false self naturally drift away. Coming home to yourself also means reclaiming your voice, both literally and metaphorically. For too long, you may have stayed silent when you had something important to say. You may have suppressed your truth to keep the peace or to avoid conflict. You may have convinced yourself that your perspective wasn't valuable or that no one would want to hear what you have to share. Divine guidance is dismantling that silencing. It is reminding you that your voice matters, that your truth is valid, that your unique perspective is a gift to the world. This doesn't mean you need to become loud or aggressive or force your opinions on others. It means speaking your truth when it is appropriate to do so, honoring your own needs and boundaries, refusing to abandon yourself for the comfort of others. As you come home to yourself, you will also notice a shift in how you define success and fulfillment. The external markers that society taught you to chase, money, status, achievement, approval, begin to lose their hold on you. Not because these things are bad or wrong, but because you recognize they are not the source of true fulfillment. True fulfillment comes from alignment, from living in integrity with your values, from expressing your gifts in service of something larger than yourself, from experiencing genuine connection with others and with the divine. When you are being divinely guided into the fullness of who you are, these become your measures of success. And paradoxically, as you stop chasing external validation, you often find that external success flows more easily because you are no longer blocked by the desperation and neediness that repels opportunities. This homecoming is not a destination you arrive at once and for all. It is an ongoing process of deepening self-knowledge, of continually peeling back layers to discover more of who you are. Every challenge you face, every choice you make, every relationship you navigate is an opportunity to know yourself more fully. Divine guidance is present in all of it, always inviting you deeper, always revealing new facets of your infinite nature. Trust this unfolding. Trust that you are being led exactly where you need to go. Trust that the confusion and uncertainty you sometimes feel are not evidence that you are lost, but evidence that you are transforming, shedding an old identity to make room for a new and more authentic expression of your true self. The presence of these 5 signs in your life, meaningful synchronicities, powerful intuition, deep inner peace, awareness of your creative power, and a sense of homecoming to your authentic self, is clear evidence that you are being divinely guided. But even if you do not recognize all of these signs right now, even if you feel disconnected or uncertain or lost, The truth is that divine guidance is always present. It never abandons you. It never gives up on you. It is woven into the very fabric of your existence, as constant and reliable as gravity, as ever-present as the air you breathe. Sometimes you cannot perceive the guidance because you are too caught up in fear or too distracted by external noise. Sometimes you doubt the guidance because it leads you in directions that don't make sense to your logical mind. Sometimes you resist the guidance because following it would require you to change, to let go of comfortable patterns, to step into the unknown. But none of that changes the reality that you are being guided, always and in all ways, toward the highest expression of your potential, toward the fulfillment of your soul's purpose, toward an experience of life that is richer and more meaningful than anything you have yet imagined. Your guides, whether you perceive them as angels or ascended masters, or your own higher self, or simply as the loving intelligence of the universe, are always working on your behalf. They are orchestrating events, arranging meetings, planting ideas in your mind, sending you signs and symbols and messages through 1,000 different channels. They cannot force you to follow their guidance. You have free will, and that free will is sacred, never to be violated. But they can and do continuously show you the path that will bring you the greatest joy, the deepest fulfillment, the most profound growth. They illuminate the way forward, even when that way forward requires you to walk through darkness for a time. They remind you that you are never alone, that you are deeply loved, that you are held in an embrace of infinite compassion. When you feel lost, when you feel like you are wandering in circles with no sense of direction, pause and become still. Close your eyes and place your hand on your heart. Take a deep breath and ask for guidance to be made clear to you. Ask for the eyes to see the signs that are being shown to you. Ask for the ears to hear the messages that are being whispered to you. Ask for the sensitivity to feel the nudges, the impulses, the intuitive hits that are constantly guiding you toward your path, and then trust that your request has been heard. Trust that the answers will come, perhaps not in the form you expect or on the timeline you demand, but in the perfect form and at the perfect time for your highest good. Pay attention to your dreams, for they are a direct channel through which divine guidance often comes. In the dream state, your rational mind is offline, and your subconscious can communicate more freely. You may receive solutions to problems you have been wrestling with. You may be shown future possibilities that are trying to emerge. You may be visited by loved ones who have passed on, bringing you messages of love and reassurance. Keep a journal by your bed and write down your dreams as soon as you wake, before they fade from memory. Over time, you will begin to notice patterns and symbols that recur, personal archetypal images that carry specific meanings for you. This is your inner world speaking, and it is intimately connected to the divine guidance that is always flowing toward you. Pay attention to nature, for it too is a messenger of divine guidance. The bird that appears outside your window at a significant moment, the butterfly that lands on your hand, the rainbow after the storm, the sunset that takes your breath away. These are not random. They are reminders from the universe that you are part of something vast and beautiful, that you are held in a web of meaning and connection. Indigenous cultures have always understood this, that every creature, every plant, every stone has wisdom to share, has medicine to offer. When you open yourself to receiving guidance from the natural world, you tap into an ancient source of knowing that predates human language and human civilization. Pay attention to the books that fall into your lap, the videos that show up in your feed, the conversations you overhear in public spaces. Divine guidance uses every available channel to reach you. Sometimes the exact message you need to hear will come from the most unexpected source. A child's innocent comment, a billboard you drive past, a line from a movie that strikes you with sudden force. The universe is constantly conspiring to wake you up, to remind you of who you are and why you are here. Nothing is wasted. Every experience, even the painful ones, even the ones that seem like mistakes or failures, is part of the divine curriculum designed specifically for your growth. As you become more attuned to divine guidance, as you learn to recognize it and trust it and follow it, your life will begin to flow with greater ease. This doesn't mean problems disappear or challenges evaporate. It means you approach them with a different energy, with the confidence that comes from knowing you are supported, that you have access to wisdom and strength beyond your individual capacity. You stop forcing outcomes and start allowing them to unfold. You stop trying to control every variable and start dancing with the mystery. You stop living from fear and start living from faith, not blind faith in some external authority, but faith in your own direct connection to the divine. Faith in the intelligence that animates all of life. Faith that you are exactly where you need to be to learn what you need to learn and become who you need to become. This is your invitation, then, to open yourself more fully to the divine guidance that is always present, to quiet the noise of the external world enough to hear the still small voice within, to honor the synchronicities and coincidences rather than dismissing them as meaningless, to trust your intuition even when it defies logic, to cultivate the peace that comes from surrender, to claim your power as a creator, to come home to your authentic self. These are not 5 separate signs, but 5 facets of the same truth. You are a divine being having a human experience, and you are never, ever alone on this journey. The recognition of divine guidance in your life is itself a form of awakening. Not everyone is ready to see the patterns, to acknowledge the presence of something greater working in and through their existence. The fact that you are here, receiving these words, contemplating these ideas, is evidence that your consciousness is expanding. You are moving from a limited, materialistic worldview into a more expansive understanding of reality, one that recognizes the primacy of consciousness, the interconnectedness of all things, and the presence of loving intelligence guiding the evolution of every soul. This awakening is not always comfortable. In fact, it often feels deeply unsettling. You may find yourself questioning everything you once believed to be true. Relationships that once felt secure may begin to feel constraining. Career paths that once seemed fulfilling may suddenly feel empty. Beliefs that were handed down to you by family or culture may no longer resonate with your inner truth. This is all part of the divine guidance process. You are being invited to examine every aspect of your life through new eyes, to release what no longer serves your highest evolution, to make space for the new consciousness that is trying to emerge through you. Many spiritual traditions speak of this as a death and rebirth process. The old self must die for the new self to be born. This is not a metaphorical death, but a real one, though it happens in consciousness rather than in the physical body. Parts of your identity, your self-concept, your understanding of who you are and what your life is about, must dissolve. This dissolution can feel like grief, like loss, like you are losing your grip on reality itself. But what is actually happening is that you are releasing your grip on illusion, on the false self you constructed to survive in a world that did not recognize or honor your divine nature. As that false self crumbles, your true self emerges, and divine guidance becomes clearer because there is less interference, less static on the line between you and the source of all wisdom. During this transition, you may experience what spiritual teachers call the dark night of the soul. This is a period when you feel cut off from divine guidance, when the signs and synchronicities seem to disappear, when your intuition goes quiet, when the peace you once felt is replaced by confusion and doubt. It feels like you have been abandoned, like the universe has turned its back on you. But this is not what is happening. What is actually happening is that you are being asked to deepen your faith, to trust in the presence of divine guidance even when you cannot feel it or see it or hear it. This is the ultimate test of surrender. Can you still believe you are being guided when all evidence of that guidance seems to have vanished? Can you walk through the darkness, trusting that there is light on the other side, even when you cannot see a single glimmer of it in front of you? If you find yourself in such a dark night, know that this too is divine guidance. It is not punishment or abandonment. It is a sacred initiation, a stripping away of everything you think you need in order to stand in the truth of who you are without any external support or validation. You are being shown that divine guidance is not something outside of you that you must reach for or earn or maintain through correct behavior. It is your very essence. It is who you are at the deepest level. You are not separate from the divine intelligence that created you. You are an expression of it, a wave that is not separate from the ocean, a ray of light that is not separate from the sun. When you emerge from the dark night, you emerge with this knowing anchored so deeply in your being that nothing can shake it again. Understanding the 5 signs of divine guidance also requires understanding the nature of time and how divine guidance operates beyond the linear progression of past, present, and future that defines your human experience. From your limited perspective in 3-dimensional reality, it appears that time moves in one direction, that the past is fixed and unchangeable, that the future is uncertain and not yet created. But from the perspective of your higher self, from the vantage point of divine consciousness, time is not linear but simultaneous. All moments exist at once in an eternal now. The future you are moving toward already exists in potential form, waiting to be actualized through your choices and actions in the present. This is why divine guidance can seem to know what is coming before it arrives. It is not predicting the future in the sense of making an educated guess based on current trends. It is perceiving the future, because the future already exists in the quantum field of all possibility. When you receive an intuitive hit about something that hasn't happened yet, when you have a dream that later comes true, when you inexplicably know that you should avoid a certain situation and later discover that doing so protected you from harm, this is your higher self, your divine aspect, perceiving across time and communicating that information to your present moment awareness. This is one of the great gifts of divine guidance. It collapses time, giving you access to information and wisdom that your linear, time-bound mind could never acquire on its own. Every choice you make creates a branching point where reality splits into multiple possible timelines. In one timeline, you take the job offer and move to a new city. In another timeline, you decline the offer and stay where you are. In another timeline still, you negotiate different terms and create a third option. All of these timelines exist simultaneously in the quantum field. Divine guidance helps you navigate toward the timeline that is in highest alignment with your soul's purpose, with the lessons you came here to learn, with the growth you chose to experience in this lifetime. This is why following divine guidance sometimes leads you in directions that seem illogical or even dangerous from a conventional perspective. Your logical mind is making calculations based on limited information and past patterns. Divine guidance is perceiving the full spectrum of possible futures and steering you toward the one that will serve your highest evolution, even if that path includes challenges and difficulties in the short term. The concept of free will becomes more nuanced when you understand divine guidance from this perspective. You do have free will. You can make any choice you want in any moment. But your choices exist within a larger framework, a soul contract you made before incarnating into this body. You chose the general themes and lessons of this lifetime. You chose the major relationships and encounters that would facilitate your growth. You chose challenges that would force you to develop specific qualities and abilities. Divine guidance is working to help you fulfill that soul contract, to have the experiences you came here to have. When you follow divine guidance, you are not giving up your free will. You are aligning your human will with your soul's will, bringing your conscious choices into harmony with the deeper purpose that brought you into physical form in the first place. This is why resistance to divine guidance creates suffering. When you insist on pursuing paths that your soul did not choose, when you make decisions based purely on ego desires for comfort or security or approval, you create friction between your human self and your divine self. This friction manifests as anxiety, depression, a persistent sense that something is missing or wrong in your life, even when external circumstances appear fine. You are literally at war with yourself, with different parts of your being pulling in opposite directions. Divine guidance seeks to end that war by bringing all parts of yourself into alignment, by helping your conscious mind understand and embrace what your soul already knows and wants. The process of learning to recognize and follow divine guidance is also a process of healing trauma. Trauma disconnects you from your body, from your feelings, from your intuition. It creates a state of hypervigilance where you are constantly scanning for threats, constantly braced for the next disaster. In this state, it is almost impossible to perceive divine guidance because you are too activated, too caught in survival mode, too identified with fear to open to anything else. Divine guidance, then, often begins with invitations to heal, to process the unprocessed pain you carry, to integrate the fragmented parts of yourself that split off during traumatic experiences. This healing may come through many channels. You may be guided to a particular therapist or healing modality. You may find yourself drawn to practices like meditation or yoga or breathwork that help you reconnect with your body. You may experience spontaneous releases of emotion, old grief or rage or terror rising to the surface to be felt and finally let go. You may have powerful dreams that bring unconscious material into consciousness. You may enter relationships that trigger your deepest wounds, not to hurt you, but to give you the opportunity to heal patterns you have been carrying since childhood or even from past lives. All of this is divine guidance working to restore you to wholeness, to bring you back into right relationship with yourself, so that you can hear and follow the guidance that has always been trying to reach you. As your trauma heals, as you become more integrated and whole, your capacity to receive and act on divine guidance expands exponentially. You learn to distinguish between the voice of fear, which is loud and insistent and catastrophic in its predictions, and the voice of divine guidance, which is calm and quiet and carries a quality of truth that you can feel in your body. You learn that divine guidance never speaks in shame or self-attack. It never tells you that you are worthless or broken or beyond redemption. Those are the voices of internalized criticism, of old wounding, of the false self that was constructed to protect you, but now only limits you. Divine guidance speaks with love, with encouragement, with an unshakable faith in your capacity to grow and transform and become all that you are meant to be. The relationship between divine guidance and manifestation deserves deeper exploration. Manifestation is not about manipulating reality to give you what you want. It is about coming into alignment with the flow of divine abundance that is always present, always offering itself to you. When you are in alignment, when you are following divine guidance, what you need shows up without force or struggle. This doesn't mean you don't take action. It means your actions are inspired rather than desperate, flowing from a place of inner certainty rather than outer grasping. You know what to do and when to do it because you are connected to the intelligence that is orchestrating all events in your favor. Many people try to use manifestation techniques to force outcomes that their ego wants but their soul did not choose. They visualize and affirm and take inspired action, but nothing seems to work. This is because they are trying to manifest from a place of lack, from a belief that they are incomplete without this thing they are reaching for. Divine guidance redirects this energy. It shows you that you are already complete, already whole, already connected to infinite abundance. From this place of wholeness, you can receive what is truly meant for you without needing to chase or force or manipulate. What you need comes to you naturally, easily, often in ways you could never have predicted or planned. This is the paradox of manifestation through divine guidance. You set intentions and take action, but you hold those intentions loosely, willing to release them if divine guidance shows you a better path. You work toward goals, but you remain open to the possibility that the universe has something even better in store for you than what you could imagine. You pray for specific outcomes, but you conclude your prayers with surrender. Let thy will, not my will, be done. This is not passive resignation. This is active partnership with the creative intelligence of the universe. A co-creative dance where you bring your desires and efforts, and the divine brings orchestration and timing and opportunities you could never have created on your own. The 5 signs of divine guidance are also intimately connected to your chakra system, the energy centers that run along your spine from the base to the crown of your head. When your chakras are balanced and open, divine guidance flows through you with ease. When they are blocked or imbalanced, that flow is restricted. Synchronicities often relate to your third eye chakra, your center of intuition and inner vision. When this chakra is open, you see beyond surface appearances into deeper patterns and meanings. Your gut feelings and bodily knowing connect to your solar plexus chakra, your center of personal power and self-trust. Peace relates to your heart chakra, the bridge between the lower and upper chakras, the place where human and divine nature meet. Awareness of your creative power connects to your sacral chakra, your center of creativity and manifestation. And the sense of coming home to yourself relates to your root chakra, your foundation and sense of safety, as well as your crown chakra, your connection to the divine. Divine guidance often works to balance and open these energy centers. You may be guided to specific practices, foods, activities, or experiences that support the clearing of particular chakras. You may notice physical sensations in certain areas of your body when you are receiving guidance related to that energy center. Learning to work consciously with your chakra system enhances your ability to receive and interpret divine guidance. As you become more sensitive to the subtle energetic shifts that accompany spiritual communication, it is also important to understand that divine guidance is not always gentle or comfortable. Sometimes it comes as a crisis, a sudden disruption that forces you out of patterns you would never have left voluntarily. You lose a job you thought was secure, and that loss opens the door to a career path you had never considered, one that aligns far more deeply with your purpose. A relationship ends painfully, and in the aftermath you discover parts of yourself that had been dormant, capacities and strengths you never knew you possessed. You get sick, and the forced rest pulls you out of a lifestyle that was destroying you, giving you the opportunity to reevaluate your priorities and make different choices. These difficult experiences are not punishments. They are course corrections, divine interventions that redirect you when you have wandered too far from your path. When crisis comes, it is natural to feel angry at the divine, to question why this is happening, to feel betrayed by the very forces you thought were guiding you toward your highest good. But with time and perspective, most people come to see these crises as great gifts, as turning points that ultimately led them toward more authentic and fulfilling lives. The challenge is to trust divine guidance even in the midst of the crisis, to believe that there is meaning and purpose in what you are experiencing, even when you cannot yet see what that meaning is. This is where faith becomes essential. Not blind faith that ignores reality, but deep faith that trusts in the fundamental benevolence of the universe, that believes you are being guided toward growth even when the path feels destructive. As you rest now, as these words wash over you and through you, integrating into the deepest layers of your subconscious mind, allow yourself to open more fully to divine guidance. Release any resistance, any skepticism, any fear that has been blocking the flow of wisdom and support that is always available to you. You do not have to earn divine guidance. You do not have to be perfect or enlightened or free from all flaws and mistakes. You are worthy of guidance simply because you exist, because you are a beloved child of the universe, because your soul chose to incarnate into this time and place for specific reasons that matter to the evolution of consciousness itself. Trust the synchronicities that appear in your life. Stop dismissing them as coincidence. Start seeing them as the universe winking at you, confirming that you are on the right path, sending you messages of encouragement and direction. Trust your intuition, that quiet inner knowing that speaks in feelings and sensations rather than words. It is wiser than your thinking mind could ever be. Trust the peace that comes over you in moments of surrender, the calm that settles into your being when you stop fighting and start flowing. It is confirmation that you are held, supported, guided by forces far greater than your individual will. Trust your growing awareness of yourself as a powerful creator, shaping reality through the quality of your consciousness. You are not a victim of circumstance, but a divine being learning to wield the creative power that is your birthright. Trust the process of coming home to yourself, of becoming more authentically who you are beneath all the masks and roles and social conditioning. Your authentic self is your most powerful self, and divine guidance is always leading you back to that truth. The journey of awakening to divine guidance is the journey of remembering who you really are. Not the small, limited, separate self that fears and grasps and defends itself against an apparently hostile world, but the vast, eternal, interconnected self that knows it is one with all that is, that recognizes its own divine nature. That understands it could never truly be harmed or destroyed, because its essence is infinite consciousness itself. As this remembering deepens, as you embody this truth more fully, your entire life transforms. You move through the world differently, with more grace, more ease, more joy. Challenges still come, but they no longer threaten your sense of self. You know that you are eternal, that this human life is one chapter in an endless story, that you are always, always being guided toward the experiences that will serve your highest evolution. This is your truth. This is who you are. This is what is happening in your life right now, whether you fully recognize it or not. You are being divinely guided in every moment, through every experience, toward the fullest expression of your divine potential. The 5 signs are simply ways of recognizing what has always been true. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are held in an embrace of infinite love, supported by invisible hands, guided by a wisdom that knows the perfect path for your unique journey. Trust it, follow it, surrender to it, and watch as your life unfolds in ways more beautiful than anything you could have planned or predicted. As you drift now into deeper rest, let these truths settle into your body, into your cells, into the very foundation of your being. Let them become so deeply embedded in your consciousness that you cannot help but live from them, cannot help but see the signs and follow the guidance and trust the process. You are awakening. You are remembering. You are coming home to the divine truth of who you are and why you are here. And in this awakening, in this remembering, in this homecoming, you are fulfilling the very purpose for which you were born. You are a divine being having a human experience, and you are being guided every step of the way. Rest in that knowing, trust in that truth, and let divine guidance lead you into the brilliant future that awaits you. And so it is, now and forever.